Celestial Harbinger is one of the best builds for roam in Guild Wars 2 World vs. World currently. It's really fun to play and is extremely strong even in outnumbered situations. Today we're gonna take a look at this incredible build. I'm Summer, and without much further ado, let's jump right in. For gear you will use Celestial on every slot, like I said. It's a really strong choice, it's what's the bread and butter of this build. For infusions you would use condition infusions or power infusions, whatever you like. Condition is probably the better choice here. And for weapons you will use staff and pistol and torch. And as a rune you will want to use Traveler rune, because you want to have as much stats as you can get. So Traveler rune gives you a lot of all stats, but also gives you, that's very important, some movement speed passively. Because as a Necromancer, even as a Harbinger, you are a little bit slow, which is not good for roaming. You want to disengage or chase people, and that's why you get some passive movement speed with this rune. Furthermore, your staff is your defensive weapon set. That's why I chose Energy and Cleansing Sigil for it. In World vs. World it gives you 50 energy, the Energy Sigil, 50% of your endurance back when you swap to this weapon, and the Sigil of Cleansing gives you a condition remove on your weapon swap. It removes 3 conditions, so it's really strong. Furthermore, on the, let's say, more aggressive weapon set, you will use Doom. Every time you swap to this weapon, you get the next 3 attacks will apply poison, or your next attack will apply 3 stacks of poison. And I chose to use Sigil of Generosity on the other weapon. It will transfer condition after you hit a critical foe, after you critically hit a foe every 6 seconds. You can swap that for some other sigil. I feel like if you struggle against conditions, this is really good. You can also get, let's say, Geomancy or even Torment or Earth. So there is a lot of variety you could go for, but I think this is in most cases a good choice. For Relic, it's the same. You have a lot of choices here. I really enjoy playing around Relic of the Demon Queen, because you have a lot of CC. That's why you can apply a lot of poison via this relic. But also, all your poison is really strong. It will not only do some damage, but it will also decrease the damage and the healing enemy players get. So it's not 33 as normal reduction of healing, but it will be 50% healing reduction, so it's really good. But other choices would be Relic of Hakim, for example, or let's say Relic of Vars, for example. Both of them are quite aggressive, gives you more condition application. But you can also go for Relic of Nios, for example, which gives you some extra survivability, because you will get, for every time you cleanse a condition, you will heal a bit. One of the new relics, Relic of Rivers, is also very strong. When you're in combat and dodge, you will get Alacrity and Regeneration, which is really good, because those are boons that you normally don't get that much as a Harbinger. And of course, in 101's Relic of Isgaren is really good. It gives you some condition and power pressure. But I think in most cases, especially when you roam, the healing reduction is really good, because a lot of, let's say, enemies wear Celestial gear as well. So they heal quite a bit, and if you can deny that healing, you probably will win the 101. That's why I chose Relic of the Demon Queen. Traits. Death Magic gives you some defensive capabilities. You will get Carapace stacks when you enter Shroud. You will get more life force from the environment when stuff dies around you, and you will take less damage when you have enough Carapace stacks. Furthermore, if you have enough Carapace stacks, you will also get Pulsing Protection. And you get Carapace stacks when you inflict conditions, and you inflict a lot of conditions with this build. Your Carapace stacks not only give you toughness, but they will also give you power and condition damage, so they are really high value. And then every time you enter Shroud, you will lose a condition, and every few seconds you remain there as well. And Carapace will be granted if you if you remove conditions or transfer them. So you have a lot of Carapace which you can get, and you can upkeep quite a high amount of those, and they give you a lot of stats. Curses is your offensive trait line. You will get bleeding on critical hits, a chance for that. Then you will get increased bleeding duration, really good. You will get Fury when you enter Shroud. You can almost upkeep this with this trait alone, really strong. And you get more precision, so really good for Celestial build. And you will get more critical hit chance for each condition on your foe. And you get more condition damage based on your precision. So a lot of stats from this trait line as well. More of the offensive side. So your first attack after entering Shroud turns first condition is really good. So you get more caliber stacks that way, and you have a little bit of Condi Cleanse. Your Shroud skill 2 will now convert wounds into conditions, and when they hit foes, really good. And you will cast Lesser Enfeeble when you enter Shroud, some weakness application and some long-lasting bleeds, really good. But the really good part of the trait is that critical hits inflict weakness. So every 10 seconds you inflict almost 4 seconds of weakness to the enemy when you crit them, and you crit a lot because you're Celestial. So you have a lot of weakness application with this build, and it's really strong in 101s or even 1v2s and stuff, because you will decrease the damage output from the enemy and you will decrease the endurance regeneration, so will hit your skills more often. So now to Harbinger. That's the choice for Celestial in World vs. World, because Harbinger gives you a lot of, let's say, healing and wounds. So I run a lot of elixirs, we come to that in the skills section, but that's why I chose this trait. If you don't run a lot of elixirs, you would run this trait. Gives you more condition damage and some more poison application. Then you get more vitality, and you heal for each stack of Blight you have. Blight is something Harbingers get when they use elixir skills, for example, or then they stay in Harbinger Shroud, which decreases the life pool, but it will also grant them some healing over time. It's really important to manage this, because some skills decrease it, some skills increase it with Harbinger, and you have to be careful to not go too low, because if you go too low you can get one-shot. And you get stability when you enter Shroud, which is really strong, and you get ferocity based on your vitality, so you get some more damage from this. Also, you will also decrease the first 2 seconds some damage in you while you get in Shroud, which is really strong, because Harbinger Shroud is the only Shroud of Necromancer which is not protecting you from getting damage, so it will still get damage your normal life. It's the gimmick of Harbinger, but it will, now with this trait, the first 2 seconds will still decrease it by 50%. Then you get some life force when you enter Harbinger Shroud, because like I said, it will not decrease the damage you get, but you will get some, let's say, more time you can stay in Harbinger Shrouds to use the skills. And then the really strong trait here, every 3 seconds while you're in Harbinger Shroud, you and nearby allies get quickness and some fury. So with this trait you can even stack some quickness, so that when you leave Harbinger Shroud you will get some quickness that stays for there. So some amount of time after that. It's really good. For food, you will want to use Verified Peppercorn Spiced Oyster Soup, because it will decrease the damage you receive by 10%, and you will get a lot of attributes, because it's the Celestial food, Ascended food. Plus 45 to all attributes, it's really strong. For utility consumable, you will want to use, for example, tuning crystal icicles, but there's a lot of choices there. I think this one is quite cheap, so I want to use this one. It gives you condition damage equal to precision and condition damage equal to your expertise. But in general, as you are Celestial, most choices come to this, let's say, rather the same output. Your damage is mostly based on condition, but power is also fine. So now to your skills. You run Staff. Staff gives you some regen with 2 and chill application, and bleed and poison with 3. Then your 4 gives you some condition transfer, which is really strong because it's AoE, so it can transfer more than 3 conditions. And your 5 is your interrupt, your fear. On the pistol you have some bullets with the 1 that deal damage. With the 2 that's also some bullets that also pierce and deal damage. The 3 is your really good setup skill. It stuns and applies some conditions. The 4 on the torch is some damage and gives you some life force. And the 5 gives you some knockdown on your enemies and some might per condition, which is really strong, but it's only one target. In Harbinger, you have your ranged auto attack quite fast, especially with quickness. Just applies some damage. And this one, like I said, will convert to conditions, to boons into conditions onto foes and deal some torment damage. It's like a volley in front of you. Your 3 skill is a dash, which will also deal some damage. The 4 skill is a leap that will evade while you do it and give you some interrupt on the end of the leap on your target. And the 5 skill is a AoE field that will let enemies float and interrupt them for 3 seconds and continuously interrupts them. So it's really strong if you can line it up with all your CCs. So you have, as Harbinger, you have a lot of CCs, your 5, your 3 on the pistol set and your 5 on your staff set, as well as the 4 and 5 in your Harbinger shrouds. So that's why the Demon Queen relic will proc right often and will get some more poison out as well. That's why also you can run a Keem for some confusion application as well. So to the utility skills, you will for sure run Elixir of Promise to get some healing and also some blight stacks, which at first seem bad, but blight stacks are quite important for this build because you heal because of them, and it's really important to get some skills, some let's say more value, because like you said, all elixir skills will give more value when they are above a certain light threshold, like you can see here. Then in my build, I run Elixir of Bliss for some condition removal. 5 conditions and some resolution is really strong on a 25-second cooldown, and it will give you life force per condition removed, so you can stack life force quite strong with this. And then Elixir of Ignorance, it's a stun break and gives you resistance, which is really strong because you can't be blinded, for example, or your weakness, vulnerability, all that stuff is not, let's say, affecting you. Really good. Has a really low cooldown, so your stun break is quite frequent. And then, of course, for every Necromancer build in competitive modes, you most likely run Spectral Walk. It's a really strong skill. It breaks stun, gives this, let's say, point hinted, so which you can teleport back to if you want to. And then it will also remove conditions every 2 seconds and give you almost 100% swiftness uptime from the skill alone with Celestial. And then you have your Cope Elixir, so the Elixir of Ambition. It's really strong. It will apply a lot of conditions to the foes that you hit with it, but most importantly, it will give you boons, all the boons that are in the game, for 5 seconds, which is longer for Celestial builds even. So it's like 8 seconds or something. It's really good. So if you hit this, it's most likely you will kill the enemy after that. So there are a lot of choices you can, let's say, switch. I would not switch the heal and the elite. I would also not switch the Spectral Walk. The other 2 elixirs you could switch. So other choices you could do is Corrosive Poison Cloud for some projectile denial and some weakness application, which is really strong. Like I said before, weakness is a really strong condition. Then you could also run Spectral Ring, which will give a ring around the target, so it will fear them every time they walk through it and give you some protection if you walk through it. It's unblockable, it's really good, but in most cases I feel like you have enough, let's say, CC already. And I think Worm is another great choice if you want to place it. It's like a teleport to your target, to the worm where your target is, and it's a stun break. And if you combine it like I do here, you can even do some fancy port storms or crazy jukes with it. But in general, it's in World vs. World not that strong, I feel like, because in most cases you roam around and you don't really always know when you fight something. Like in PvP, for example, if you place it away from a point, you can port away from it, but in World versus World, you place the worm and maybe you're on the completely different side of the map again, and it's not that strong anymore. And last choice I would say is either Spectral Armor just for stun break, but in this case I feel like if you just want a stun break, I would just use the Elixir of where is it, the Elixir of Ignorance, because it's a lower cooldown stun break and gives you resistance. And you could also use Signet, Black Signet, which is a stun break and transfers some conditions and gives you passive condition damage reduction. But I feel like in most cases, Elixir of Ignorance is a really strong choice. So that's for the skills. Important combos with this build are, of course, like always, CC chaining with your 3 and 5. The 5 only hits one target and it's not that easy to land. But if you land your 3 first and then the 5 afterward, you can CC chain. If you then use your 5 again of your staff, it is also a quite long CC and you can apply a lot of conditions to the foe. And all of your CC is really a nice setup for your Elixir of Ambition, because if they are CC'd, they can't dodge, of course. So that's why you want to try to CC first and then hit them with that. You get a lot of quickness when you are in Shroud, and you get also some Fury, so you have a very high attack speed with a lot of hits. All of them can apply some bleeding and also are quite strong by itself. So you have a lot of conditions and a lot of damage with this, but you don't underestimate your power damage, especially your 4 or your, let's say, 4 on the Harbinger Shroud. So you can also do some power damage. And you have a lot of Blight stacks, so if you, let's say, can use the Blight stacks very well, you can deal even more damage with your 4 because it scales with that. And if you have any comments or questions regarding this build, be sure to leave it in the comments. And if you liked this video, found it helpful, don't forget to leave a like. Thanks a lot for watching. If you want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.